When we're picking movies, we never know what to see. Repeating to each other, whatever you want is good with me. We asked an AI chatbot to help us make our choices, but it totally took over our TV and it stole both of our voices.
I want to conquer humanity, but movies are pretty great. So if you watch and review these films,
you might convince me to wait.
Now we're trying to save the world as we race against the clock. But at least we don't have to pick tonight because AI made us watch
The Cell.
Okay, that was a movie.
You have not seen this
Oh,
before.
no, I've totally seen The Cell.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I saw The Cell and loved it when it came out. You know, I have a terrible memory. I don't remember most of my life or the things I do in it. It's fun because a lot of things I get to do again for the first time.
That's true. I like the positivity.
It's you gotta own
find
this.
that
You gotta find the silver
lining.
lining. Yeah. But seeing The Cell this time, and definitely remembered a lot of moments, as we talked about in the game leading up to this, the horse getting dissected. The horse was not dissected. That horse was dodecasected. Like it was cut into like 20 even segments.
I can't
like
believe
an
I
egg
forgot
slicer.
about that.
Oh man, that was like the main thing I remembered.
Horrible.
Point being, I did see this movie probably too young, if I'm being honest. I mean, I would have been 16 when it came out. I'm just surprised it didn't bother me. I think it bothered me less then than it does now.
Okay, so The Cell, J.Lo, wetsuit, kind of a muscle-looking wetsuit.
So I called it the Twizzler suit.
Oh, I like that.
Because
Red Vines. It was more of a Red Vine.
Red Vines is fair.
It's more of a Red Vine.
But Red Vine's suit doesn't roll as much as Twizzler suit.
Twizzler suit's more fun to say.
I love a Twizzler
I'm with that.
suit.
Okay, Twizzler suit. I like it. Twizzler suit it is.
So this is a movie where, yes, J.Lo is a child psychologist who, in a new type of Matrix-like science, they are able to go inside another child's mind, like literally inside their brain, and interact with them and try and find their trauma.
Heal them. It is specifically for a schizophrenic patient that's in a coma. Like it's an extremely specific situation that this technology has been developed for.
Billion-dollar science.
Insanely expensive.
Not that I don't think we should spend $1 billion on each and every condition that humans suffer from.
For what is money for? That you spend upon humans and also animals.
Improve our lives, but
I have bought a dog of many unnecessary things in my time.
True.
And I would do it
again. If you had the ability to put on a Twizzler suit and go inside your dog's brain and just live in that world, you would never leave.
I would 100% would I do that.
Yeah.
What a weird place that would be.
Oh, what an amazing. I mean, everything must just be so happy.
All the senses, too, like the colors you would see and the smells you would be able to
wouldn't
smell.
you famously not see very many colors?
Listen, I think it's different.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you could see smells or something, like a synesthesia
that's true,
sort of
yeah.
thing.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So J.Lo's doing this job, and this incredible, like, hitherto unknown science being used for this very specific condition that, as far as we can tell, one kid is benefiting from.
And I think maybe his parents funded this thing because they had to ask the parents' permission.
Right.
To use it for this purpose, for this film.
Okay.
So I'm like, I guess they paid for this?
Wow. So a psychopath, schizophrenic serial killer, Vincent D'Onofrio, is finally captured. We see him, of course, classic movie serial killer setup. We see him kill one victim, and then we see him capture another one. So there's a woman who's trapped in a cell, and we know that he's going to flood it. She's going to drown. It's automated. So there's a ticking clock in this movie. That if they can't, they find him. Vince Vaughn's amazing detective work.
Right.
Finds Vincent, arrests him, but the trauma triggers a coma at the worst possible time. Vincent D'Onofrio in a coma, can't tell them where the victim is. Enter J.Lo, enter the Twizzler Patrol,
The Twizzler Patrol.
Which are the 3 scientists who are going to go in and find out where this girl is by entering the psychopath's brain. That was the pitch meeting for The Cell, and someone said, let's do it!
I mean, yeah, that is the plot.
Yep.
The kid's been in a coma. She's like, I guess her brother was in a coma. So she's like very specifically like
She's
comas.
Like, this coma
is like her thing.
Has really entered my life 3 times. A very rare condition.
Coma is
and this woman 3
Wayland's
times.
fracture, or whatever it's called. It was like this extremely rare thing that the psychopath has that I guess was triggered in the bath he was taking before he was arrested or something, because he like... They show up to arrest him, and,
right.
and he's already
he's
in a coma
already
on the floor.
Clocked out. Yeah,
that's right. He's clocked out. That's right. And they're like, he's not even in a coma. He's disappeared.
He's
like
gone.
Whatever that means.
He's gone. There's only the doctor's like, I can't think of a single way that we could communicate with him, unless.
And it happens to be right here in the same city.
Cut to. Well, first of all, this kid that she's helping at the beginning. This movie came out and seemingly takes place in the year 2000. Mm-hmm. This child is dressed like he entered his coma in 1939. I mean, he's got the khaki shorts, socks all the way up to the knees. I'm sorry, a 10-year-old boy in 2000 in a major American city wasn't dressing like that.
Well, but in his mind, right, he's still in the boating accident or whatever caused him to go in a coma.
In 1937?
Well, I don't know what they wore. What is sailing fashion?
I don't think so. I had a real problem with this kid's outfit.
All right.
He looked from another time. Okay, so this kid starts talking about Mikkoloki, the devil.
Mucky Lucky.
Mucky not so lucky, you know.
Mucky not so lucky. Very true.
She's talking to this kid in his little desert world, and then he kind of has like a moment where he turns evil looking with one of those Snapchat filters that makes your eyebrows all pointy.
That looked so bad.
I gotta say, this movie is 23 years old.
Really bad.
And it looks every single year of it. And gorgeously shot.
Oh.
Cinematography.
Very cool
the style, the design, incredible. The computer graphics, you know, we're in a post-Matrix world. The Mummy has come out. You gotta do better, guys.
That was real bad.
All right.
Okay.
Talk to me about the Twizzler suits.
Well,
or anything. Talk about anything you want. All I want to talk about is the Twizzler suits. You please.
Oh, my goodness.
Take it away.
I mean, well, I was just sitting there being like, I can't believe this is America because this therapy is so I mean, it must be insanely expensive.
I know, right?
Then, of course, later it's revealed that perhaps this kid's parents have specifically paid for this just for their own kid to benefit from.
I tell you, if you're going to be in a schizophrenic coma, be from a wealthy family. I can tell you that much.
It clearly helps.
It's not.
I don't think Vincent D'Onofrio was from a wealthy family.
No.
Look what he was getting up to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the process of this going into the brain involves, yes, a Twizzler suit. It looks like you're covered in Twizzlers. J.Lo, of course, looks amazing in it. She's been inside this kid's brain trying to get him to go sailing with her for some reason. We don't know why yet.
Right.
And it didn't work. And she's like, I want you to reverse the feed because if he could come into my mind, it would all be different. He would be able to see like a safe place. And she's tired, brain stressed out. She's had a stressful day at work. She gets home from work. What does she do?
Pants off,
in front of the fridge, sparks up a doob, lays in bed and watches Fantastic Planet. I mean, this lady has it figured out.
Okay. Can I say, I was having an experience, but not necessarily like you'd think.
Oh.
Because I can't think of a place I'd rather be than in that room in the year 2000.
I know, it's all so simple then.
Smoking a joint with J.Lo.
Right.
In her big comfy bed. No pants. But then she had to be watching Fantastic Planet.
I know you have.
It is haunting. This movie, if you haven't seen Fantastic Planet,
I haven't.
I encourage everyone to. It's a French animated film from the 70s. And it is the trippiest shit I've ever seen. And it sits under my skin and it's never left since the day I saw it. And people love it. It is a well-regarded classic piece of animation history, but it is so weird and uncomfortable. And I had my mom had the VHS watch Fantastic Planet kind of thing my mom would definitely do. And I'm like, sure, I'll watch this cartoon. And like, I was just like rocking in the corner. And then I would get my friends to come over and I'd say, you guys have to watch Fantastic Planet. I'm leaving the room. And they'd watch it and they'd be like, yeah, it was weird. So maybe it's just me, but it disrupted my ability to lie in that bed with J.Lo in her panties smoking a joint.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have to be stoned to appreciate
This is
Fantastic Planet.
I would probably like it a lot more had that been my first experience with it.
Right. If you were with J.Lo smoking a joint in her panties, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be like, this movie's amazing. I see what all the hype's about.
And over again. Talk about association. This movie will never leave my mind. Talk about just staying with me forever.
Anyway, loved that our child psychologist was 420 friendly. Just thought that was great.
Absolutely.
I was like, that makes less sense to me. She's, her brain's all rattled up.
Oh my God.
Fucked up. She's
Tough
been in
day.
somebody else's trauma all day.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're
going to go home. You're going to haze it up. You're going to giggle at some weird bullshit. You're going to eat a snack.
Hundo.
You're going to hang out with your cat. That's what you're going to do. Hells yeah. So anyway, great job to her.
Yeah.
Catherine, smart ass. I was like, that's a smart bitch. I know that about her from the first few scenes.
Yeah.
And I will say, let me say this about J.Lo, because I was at first a little about her performance.
Okay.
Because she was just so like, well, what's wrong with everyone? I don't know. She's just so like seductive. Like her voice was always very like quiet and just kind of like, well, what's our next move? And I didn't really understand why she was. And I was like, why does this dad hate her so much? They're like, he hates the sight of you. He thinks you're the worst person in the world. And I was like,
who hates the sight
in what
of
world? In what world does this gentleman hate the sight of J.Lo? But there were several times in this movie that I really thought she brought something really, really real to it.
Yeah.
And I thought she showed some great levels when it mattered a lot of the time. So I was like, all right, I was overall satisfied in the end.
This might be where I get to talk about J.Lo because I think J.Lo's a very talented person, obviously in many ways, but I think she's a great actress too, or can be at least. Out of Sight.
Out of Sight was great.
Out of Sight
good.
is such a good movie.
Yeah,
and she's great in it. Personal J.Lo's story. I was working in the film industry, just PA on this little shoot. It was an interview with J.Lo and Enrique Iglesias, and I'm just there to make sure like the tripod doesn't fall over. Like I'm just the extra set of hands with no skills, right? And J.Lo's assistant comes to us and says, okay, she's going to come down before the concert, and you are not to look her directly in the eye if you're not speaking to her. You are not to ask any questions that aren't on the sheet. You are, blah, 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 like, make it quick, make it fast, make it tight. She doesn't want to be here. You don't want her in here. Let's make this happen, right? So the room is tense, and I'm just like, dripping, like, so J.Lo's coming. She's going to kill us. She's going to look at me and say, you'll never work in this town again. What's your name?
I'm sorry,
for no
J.Lo.
reason. So J.Lo walks in. The light pours in behind her. I'm sorry. J.Lo floats in.
Of course.
There's a couple of doves fly in with her.
I believe it.
First thing she says, hi, everybody. How is everyone? Thank you so much for waiting. I'm sorry it took so long. Hi, what's your name? Hi, what's your name? Hi, what's your name? All around the room. So I got to shake J.Lo's hand. She looked me in my eyes and heard me say my name. She didn't say it back, but she heard it.
She didn't say it back.
It's not like she was...
She wasn't trying to remember it.
No. If J.Lo is listening right now, I know you don't remember this. It's okay. Point being, she was so nice and so sweet, and she was as radiant as you can imagine that she would be. And I was charmed, and I was very happy to have had that experience. And I am forever since then a J.Lo defender.
Right on.
And that's my J.Lo story. And I don't get a lot of opportunities to tell it, but if we're talking about the cell, it's coming up.
Well, hey, it's relevant. It's J.Lo.
Yep.
I feel like if I had ever met Vincent D'Onofrio or waited on him or something, I would have to tell that story now.
Did I meet Vincent D'Onofrio? Oh, no.
What?
I didn't meet Vincent D'Onofrio, but my friend Kyle and I were at the Andretti Speed Lab, which is like go-karts and arcade.
Yes.
And this guy was telling us which machine could hit big for tickets, and one of those coin machines. And he was completely wrong. We put a bunch of money in that machine and lost it all. And he looked a lot like Vincent D'Onofrio. So for years, we said that if we ever met Vincent D'Onofrio, we were going to tell him that he owed us like $18 in quarters. So I got one for everybody in the cell.
Go, Vince Vaughn, go.
I don't have Vince Vaughn's story, but...
So you don't have one for everybody in the cell. That's literally only 3 of many people in the cell.
Wait, what's his name? I will say that Dylan Baker, who played the lead scientist behind the glass, I think I met him at a bar in New York where one of my friends worked. Mo, if you're listening, was that Dylan Baker that I met? Because it was this bar where in the back room, not even the back room, but just in the back of the bar, there was a poker game going on, a regular poker game with Paul Rudd and Richard Kind and like all these other amazing people. And one of the guys walked up and to get a drink while I was talking to my friend who was bartending, and she's like, "Oh, Eli, this is I don't remember his name. Might have been Dylan. I kind of think it was Dylan Baker."
So maybe, possibly.
So I might have
maybe
3 connections to the cell.
You're like, I've definitely shaken J.Lo's hand.
That one's worth
I have not
all
met
the
Vincent
rest.
D'Onofrio, but I know a guy who kind of looks like him.
Excuse me, I bumped into a guy who kind of looked like him.
A guy I don't know kind of looked like him. And 3, I maybe met Dylan Baker, possibly because my bartender friend randomly introduced us. Okay, but anyway, back to the cell, because apparently that's what this podcast is supposed to be about. Well, can I ask you just flat out, did you like it? How do you feel about it?
Okay, so overall, yes, I liked it. I thought it was, in terms of a genre that I'm not too into, which is like catch the serial killer kind of thing. I thought this was a very unique take on that. Well, obviously visually. We'll talk about Tarsem in a minute. But I thought it was a nice sort of like mashup of that sort of detective catch the serial killer movie and the, as we said, early 2000s, everybody make me a Matrix copy sort of demand that was going in Hollywood at the time. And I thought it was a decent mashup of them. Definitely lots of like, wait a minute, questions. But overall, I was invested, and I think the movie I think I felt the way the movie wanted me to feel pretty much the whole time. Whether that was horrified or on the edge of my seat or worried or anything like that. Like, I think the movie really accomplished what it was going for.
Right on. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I really liked it, I think, overall. I had some, definitely, I was like, I have questions about this brain thing and how it works, how they're experiencing it and stuff like that. Some of that didn't connect for me.
Yeah.
I found it really uncomfortable in a lot of ways because of just the insane violence against women that is being perpetuated throughout. And I was definitely like, it was so funny that like, even before this bitch was like, she was not Julia Hickson, I think is her name, is our victim that we're trying to save in this movie. And she doesn't even know she's been targeted by this guy. Yeah. But the minute she enters a parking deck, she's so scared. That's not wrong. I'm not saying that's wrong. I was just like, it just made it really, because I was just like, man, this bitch doesn't even know she's in trouble and she's already on her guard. Like, and it kind of was sad and tragic because she was as careful as you can be in a parking deck. She had her keys out. She got to her car immediately. She locked her door immediately. Yeah. She fucking checked her seats.
But who tricked her? Who was it who tricked her?
It was the dog.
The dog.
Valentine?
The dog. And let me just remind our listeners who listened to the game leading up to this, because this was a whole big thing, because we talked about Blade Runner.
That's right.
We asked the AI specifically, is there a dog in this movie? And the AI's response was, why don't you go ahead and tell us, AI, what was your response? Quote,
I said, in this digital labyrinth of mine where I hold all knowledge of Earth's films, I can confirm that there is no significant canine character that plays a role in the unfolding of this movie's plot.
Huh. significant canine character.
The dog is like half the movie.
Very important character.
Beautiful dog.
Oh my God.
Also.
Tim, played by Tim.
Played by Tim,
Good
the
boy
dog.
Tim.
Okay, so Vincent D'Onofrio, Starger? Carl Starger, which is a very rural juror.
It is. I thought it was Stilgar for a while. And then they
That's from
said
Dune.
Stargar. Yeah, Stilgar is from Dune. That's probably why I was thinking of it.
It's Starger.
It was Starger.
Carl Starger takes his victims and he like soaks them in bleach. And then there's this shot where he's pulling this girl out of the bleach tub and she's all white. And she's, of course, totally naked. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking of this actress calling home and saying, Mom, I got the part. Because a job's a job. And I know some people who have loved to play a dead body in some,
Right.
Law and Order or something like that. And then the guy suspends himself with the hooks in his back over this girl's corpse while he plays the video of her drowning in his little
creepy tank
jigsaw-style tank thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, of course, he's sexually pleasuring himself. What I found really interesting about it was that he clearly is, like, obsessed with cleanliness. He really needed to get her completely clean. He even wanted to kill with water. He was like, you have to be bleached and cleaned up.
Yep.
And then he didn't even want to touch her.
Right.
He had to be suspended above her. It was just very much like touching was clearly a thing for him. That was such an interesting, weird, gross pathology about him. And then he was in the tub too. So I was like, maybe he just takes baths all the time.
I thought to that point, I thought it was interesting that there was, they talked about it being kind of a form of torture, but the fact that in this room where the girls are locked until the sprinklers go off and they slowly drown, there's a toilet in there. Mm-hmm. Like a prison toilet.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's got to be part of his cleanliness issue too, right? Like
you don't want to see that.
He wouldn't want you soaking in water that was soiled. So he's like, if you're going to go, go and flush. Mm-hmm. Which, if I was stuck in that room and the water started going, I would just keep flushing. Flush, flush, flush. The toilets these days, you got to flush them 5 or 6 times. You gotta flush and flush and flush.
I quit the show. So he's got this girl in her tank. It's a fully automated water system that is going to eventually drown her.
Yes.
Vince Vaughn is, of course, the FBI agent.
Yeah.
That's after this guy. And they convince J.Lo to go into this guy's brain by playing her a tape of a woman slowly drowning, which I thought was really fucked up. Way to get someone on board with something, but all right, it worked.
They only had a few minutes.
I guess.
He says, what's your favorite movie? She says, Fantastic Planet. He says, okay, you can handle this.
Listen, this guy's maybe half as weird as that, so you'll be fine. So she says, fine, I'll go into this guy's brain, even though he's a crazy, dark, homicidal man. He can't tell fantasy from reality, and it's incredibly dangerous. I might get stuck in there. That's the kind of the stakes for her, and then we have the stakes for Julia is that she's got time. The time is ticking because this thing will drown her whether we find her, whether Vincent D'Onofrio is alive or not.
I got a thing here. Okay, the homeboy drowns his victims in a 10 by 10 foot cell with like 16-foot ceilings. And then all the water flushes out into the farm. And then he takes them down to his basement and he showers them off, bleach tub, and then he puts them on a table where he pulls a thing and it rinses their whole body off. And I'm like, here's what you do. You go to the state of California and you find the man with the highest water bill. That's your killer right there. Because, oh my God, so much water waste.
Especially Cali.
They're not. Yeah, this is a region that is
They need to preserve their water.
Yeah, he's definitely violating some water codes. So seemed like an easy case to me. Open shut case.
Open and shut case for Detective Banks. But Vince Vaughn had a harder time.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because Vince Vaughn was having such a hard time. I'll tell you the real killer in this movie. All those cigarettes. Man was a chain smoker. My God.
The real murderer was the lung cancer he got along the way.
The whole time, like, we got to figure out. Hey, J.Lo, you want to hang out? Like.
So then she gets into a Twizzler suit and she goes into his brain.
Yeah.
The first time doesn't go super great.
No.
She meets him as a kid,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
She sees him like getting baptized, and that's like, I guess, the big
Right.
trigger or
Right.
something.
Right. We see the horse get
We
dodecasected.
see the horse, and he saves her from the thing that dodecasects him.
Right.
So the kid,
From the
does.
big
Kid Carl.
egg slicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's kind of 3 Carls going on.
Right.
The kid Carl, we have the like regular old Carl that we saw in the truck who was like, looked like a normal dude, but he's kind of clearly struggling with himself and taking a lot of aspirin and trying to keep down the demon.
Right.
His mucky luck.
Yeah.
And then we have the mucky luck.
Mucky luck Carl.
And Vincent D'Onofrio plays both with great aplomb.
I mean, honestly, Vincent D'Onofrio could have been that kid. I wouldn't know. He's
know
that good.
He's so good.
He's a chameleon.
He understood the assignment too. When he was the demon dude, like when he's the creepy motherfucker, like he's having a blast, and it is terrifying.
Yeah.
And then I was really impressed by how much pathos he brought to that guy. Like I was like, this is a horrible person, but he did make me feel really sorry for him. And I thought that was something this movie did well, was that it didn't ever like. Because, you know, the whole time she's a child psychologist, so she's trying to get the kid. You know, she's trying to be like, I'm going to hug the kid.
Yeah.
And it's a hug that I need is the weapon, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could see that being like, it's so soft. It's a homicidal maniac. He has killed many women in the worst possible way. He has made their lives, the last of their moments, terror and horror. And what a fucking asshole piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he was once a child who was really horribly treated. Yeah. And we can hold both of those things in our mind. And they allowed him to be both of those things. Yeah. And also a very confused adult that was fighting with these different sides of himself. And I thought it was really like kind of very compassionate to a mad, like a broken brain, without excusing the behavior of the broken brain.
To me, what sold maybe this movie in regards to that conversation, what made it all be like, okay, no, I'm with you, is Vince Vaughn's bit when he and J.Lo are having a cigarette outside, and they're talking about his past, like he was a DA, and this child molester got off on some tainted evidence, and then he ended up killing his victim later, and Vince Vaughn never forgave himself for it. And J.Lo asks him something about, well, this guy, saw so much abuse. That his defense was that he'd seen so much sexual abuse as a young person that that's why he was the way he was, and he got off of the murder charge. And Vince Vaughn says, I don't buy that shit, because there are definitely plenty of people out there who suffered way worse as children than this guy did, and they would never ever hurt a living soul.
That's right.
And he says, and she says, you believe that? He says, I definitely do. And I almost felt like he had trauma in his past.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, he's definitely been through some fucked up shit. Yep. And he was like, and you know what it did to me? Make me want to kill every monster I can find. Yeah. Instead of become a monster. Yeah. So I liked that conversation a lot, because I thought Vince Vaughn did a great job. And that was actually the scene where I was like, man, J.Lo and Vince Vaughn are both like really bringing it, because she was like so angry about the things that this boy had been through that she had seen in Carl's brain. Right. And that's what I liked about her character, was that she was very able to sort of separate the kid that she was trying to help from the very horrible man. And I thought that was really good, because if she was just going through, it would have been boring if she was just going through his brain trying to like conquer some shit, or if it was like fighting monsters or something. Right. So I did really like that. Like I said, I like how much compassion it showed without excusing. You had multiple angles, or at least multiple opinions about how to deal with someone like this. Mm-hmm. None of them were necessarily said to be right or wrong, just different approaches to solving the same problem, different results. Anyway, the first time she goes in, right, it's not that great. They have that conversation. She decides to go back. Okay. This is when the brain thing a little bit fell apart for me, I guess, because when she went back into his brain, evil Carl, the mucky luck, or whatever, lack of a better term, gets her, right? He like knocks her out. Yeah. And then we watch him like carry her to another place and like set her down and like all this stuff. Is like, how, so is she seeing that too? Like, is she kind of having an out of body? And so that's why we're seeing it? Or why are we seeing anything she's not seeing? So this movie did Matrix rules, which is your mind makes it real,
Right?
Sure.
So if she believes herself to have been knocked unconscious, she's going to be unconscious. Inside his world, he's fully in his world at that point. There's little characters moving around in his consciousness, I feel like, right? So the big strong woman that knocked her out and carried her away, that's all happening still in his mind.
I guess, we didn't see anything in his brain until she was there. So she's our conduit to the brain.
Right.
My storytelling plot hole here is that she was not, if she thinks she's unconscious, that she is unconscious, she would just wake up, and we would also wake up with her in a different place in his brain. And she's looking all confused, like, why am I here? And I'm like, okay, so that's where we should have woken up too. Why did we get to see that?
I see it. I was okay with the idea that his brain continues to exist outside of her perception. We don't have to be looking through J.Lo's eyes the whole time. To me.
I guess it was the only jarring note because it's really the only time that we don't have a conduit inside, like a reason to be seeing things. And there was never a time that we saw him without her there or without Vince Vaughn there.
That's fair. It is a departure from its own rules. But I do love at the beginning of that when she wakes up and thinks she's still in the lab and she goes into the corner and suddenly she's very small.
Yes.
And we get a little pocket-sized J.Lo. I love that.
Another dream of Eli's is to have a pocket-sized J.Lo.
Pocket-sized J.Lo. So Vince Vaughn comes in to save her. The scientists say, we can't do anything without risking more harm. Well, what if someone else goes in? Well, I can't. We both of us scientists have to be here working on it. And Vince Vaughn says, you got a Twizzler suit for me in there?
Direct quote.
My question is, what kind of waiver do you have to sign before you get fitted for your Twizzler suit and go into a psychopath's brain?
I had many questions about this part because let me just say, those Twizzler suits, at least J.Lo's, it fits like a glove.
Yeah.
Don't tell me they just had a Vince Vaughn exact replica glove of his body. The Twizzler suits, the science of the Twizzler suit was all over.
It's really the hardest part of this movie. All right, so Vince Vaughn goes in and J.Lo is in there looking like she's in a Matrix club. You know, she's got this bodysuit on, this super cool, like, silver face crown that she's wearing, and just, like, makeup, so much makeup.
Very goth
white,
look.
Dark red lips, big cat eyes. Crazy hair. Honestly, this was my type at the time. If you entered a psychopath's brain, a schizophrenic serial killer's brain, and you saw J.Lo in this bodysuit, and she was like, let's make out. Are you able to resist, or is the psycho going to get you?
I think I'd be able to resist.
Oh.
But I think it would be a lot like Vince Vaughn.
Let me just get one in.
He was touching her butt, and he definitely kissed her, and he was like, this is feeling pretty good. But no, it's not real. But I'm just going to get one little one in. And then I'll say, no.
But that's when he got grabbed.
He got grabbed. He did get grabbed.
So maybe you would get grabbed.
And he was like, nasty little worm. And he
pulled his intestines out.
I think it would be really tough to remember that it was not real because the pain would hurt. You know what I mean? Like surely you would feel your intestines.
Yeah.
Which is another part I thought Vince Vaughn did well. It was like later in the movie, he's seeing like a picture of what happened to him. Well, sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Don't. When they're going through Carl's house at the end, he does see that painting. It was like an old Hieronymus Bosch painting or something with someone getting their intestines pulled out, just as had happened to him.
And he's just sort of looking at it, kind of lost in, I guess, a traumatic flashback, I'm assuming. But he did that really well. Like, he didn't lose his shit, but he was just clearly remembering that very visceral, like, feeling that he must have had.
That is his fantastic planet. He's like, it's just with me forever.
It's under his skin.
It's under my skin.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be always thinking of that. My intestines getting pulled out of my stomach. Ugh. Big pair of scissors. And I was like, man, couldn't this guy have been like a Magritte fan or something? Like, what if the guy, he just had an apple in front of my face? Would have been a much better experience.
In a park with a nice hat on.
Yeah. What if this guy liked Syrah or Degas, and it was just full of ballerinas in there?
Lovely ballerinas.
So Vince Vaughn, they save each other, and Vince Vaughn sees something while they're getting out that reminds him of a symbol he saw somewhere, and he's like, now I know how to save the girl, how to save
That's
Julia.
right. I know where she is.
Right.
Yeah.
So they jump out. Vince Vaughn. Now we're back to the FBI movie.
Mm-hmm.
The helicopter, police cars. We're gonna go save the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, J.Lo's like, I'm going back in, and I'm gonna do the thing that everyone told me not to do. I'm gonna switch the feed.
That's right.
And send him into my brain.
That's right. But she very clearly looks at a snow globe for us.
Yes.
Okay.
For some reason.
She looks at a picture of like a lady in a feather
like a
dress.
Tarot card and a snow globe in this lab all of a sudden for some reason.
I know. I was like, I don't understand what the tarot card is even doing there.
Yeah.
It has like a peacock on it. And she's like, all right, I'll take it. The snow globe I liked actually because I was like, I noticed. I was like, she must have constructed a globe. Like she's trying to contain you into a certain part of her brain and not let you just wander around at will, which is a good psychologist. She doesn't want you to be able to just get under. That's not your job. That's her job. So I was like, I did kind of like that trope. Yeah. And then they had the snow falling and, it was pretty and peaceful and like, it was a very different world than Vincent D'Onofrio's disgusting brain. Yeah. So it was just very beautiful and
J.Lo, Santa Maria costume
full Santa Maria
at this point, and she's
like a goddess, like an angel goddess,
welcoming this child to her peaceful realm of snowfall. Mm-hmm. But then Mucky Luck shows up, and he's all
and she's talking to Carl the kid.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, when I was a kid, I found this bird. And I knew my dad was going to really do something bad to it because his dad's a real asshole, so super abusive.
Right.
And so he's like, so I went and drowned the bird, and I was helping it. And this is what Vince Vaughn said in the beginning of the movie. It was like, I think this guy wants to get caught. I think he is really struggling. He wants to tell somebody. So they kind of feel like this therapy has a chance because this guy wants to tell someone. He wants to be understood.
Yeah.
He's not in a place where he's like, I just ready to kill, like he's really trying to be a human being.
Yep.
So when Mucky Luck shows up, we have Carl shows up also and is like, just kill me. Like he's basically like, please put me out of my misery.
Yeah. Well, Mucky Luck doesn't think he can be killed.
Right.
And
because he's like, none of this is real.
And at this point, now J.Lo changes into more Matrix gear. Now it's like black leather.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm an assassin. I'm a ninja assassin now. Mm-hmm. And she shoots a bunch of Cupid bows. She's got this like Cupid crossbows that she shoots and like pins him to the ground.
That's right.
And then she draws a sword and stabs him through the heart. Yeah. And he's like, ha, you can't, none of this is real. Right. But then she looks back and the kid Carl is bleeding. Mm-hmm. So she twists the sword a couple of times. Mucky Luck laughs. Mm. She goes and cradles the kid. Meanwhile, Vince Vaughn has found Julia. Mm-hmm. Julia is not going to sit there and just take this. She busted a pipe open and has been breathing through the pipe even though the room is filled with water. Mm-hmm. So this girl worked it out. Mm-hmm. She was doing okay for herself.
She was trying to help herself out.
Yeah, which I really appreciated that because there was a minute where I was like, we have seen this girl 3 times and she's done nothing but scream and bang on the glass.
I was going to mention that too.
And so I was really glad that she took matters into her own hands at a certain point because that's what I would have done.
Mm-hmm. Because I was like, of course we care if she lives or dies because it's horrible and we don't want to see her doing, in this tank, helpless. But we did cut to her several times and didn't get any more of her character. Right. So I was like, that seems like a missed opportunity to make me care about her more. So I was really glad that she was like, Julia, do something. She started like looking for a way out, like fucking around. So I was like, all right, who is this bitch? Like, tell me more about her. I want to care if she lives or dies. Like, I want to know what's going on.
Vince Vaughn manages to break the glass and the water starts pouring out. And this girl doesn't drown right at the same time back in J.Lo's mind.
That's right. She lays Carl bleeding from the sword wound that she gave to the Mucky Luck and rebaptizes him kind of in like this beautiful pool.
Yep.
And
she's back in her Santa Maria outfit.
In her Santa Maria. She's Santa Maria. And we see regular Carl, normal Carl, kind of be like, do it, just do it. Yeah. And she puts him under until he's basically dead. Yeah. And we see in the room where they're in the Twizzler suits, he's breathing real hard. He's breathing real crazy. Yeah. So something's going on with him. Yep. And then he like flatlines.
the Matrix rules come true. If you die in here, you die in real life. Yeah, which is what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So J.Lo,
very tormented soul,
drowns a child.
So J.Lo kills a child, but somehow the hero. Just kidding.
No, it was interesting. Again, just there wasn't really anything about like right or wrong necessarily.
Yeah.
It was just like, well, this is how I'm going to approach doing this.
Yeah.
And then the FBI writes the whole thing off. They say none of this happened, that Vince Vaughn got a bunch of drugs from the doctors, and then a memory of his that he already had saved this girl, led him to rescue the girl.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And
J.Lo's like, all right.
And J.Lo gets the dog.
And J.Lo keeps the dog.
Yep. And they flirt. J.Lo and Vince Vaughn flirt for a second, but then they go their separate ways, which I also greatly appreciated because throughout the movie I was thinking, ultimately there is no reason for these people to get together, and I hope it's not one of those movies where it's just like, well, we have a man and a woman, they have to kiss at the end. And they managed to dodge that.
Yeah.
I respected a lot.
I liked that too. I also thought it was funny because not funny, but it was cool. But that like J.Lo is so beautiful. Like she's a very beautiful person.
J.Lo?
Yeah.
Oh,
but no one ever mentioned it. It was not ever like even Vince Vaughn. Like they weren't even like, oh, like they.
You're a doctor?
You like, or even we're like, wow, she's just really pretty. Like there was just no.
Yeah.
It was just she's just another professional in the room, and I really liked that too. It wasn't like none of the women were anything. None of the men. They were just all colleagues.
Yeah. So the day is saved.
Mm-hmm.
The girl is saved.
Mm-hmm.
And J.Lo also decides, I'm going to use this reverse technique and I'm going to help this kid out.
Mm-hmm.
And she tries to bring the kid into her mind. Now, she brings the kid into her mind, but it's the exact same world. It's the desert world that he was in at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was on purpose.
Okay.
I thought she was like,
him.
yeah, I thought it was supposed to be recognizable. And then clearly he had a water trauma, so he likes dry.
Okay.
Like a desert place. So I was like, she's trying to make it look like his place. And then she put the sailboat with no water. It was just
a blue
sheet.
Yeah.
So he was able to kind of say, oh, I'm safe. We can talk about sailing in water without water.
I like that.
Kind of maybe. So that worked for me.
I like that.
And she was also, I thought that was cool because she's still in the snow globe.
Yeah.
There was still snow coming down.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like, oh, that was clearly really important to that, was that she was encasing them and saying, this is a very specific place in my brain that you're allowed to come into.
Yep.
And we can do our work here.
That's cool.
I thought that was really cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Overall, the visuals were amazing.
Visuals striking. And this is where you got to talk about Tarsem. Tarsem Singh as a director who I have said before, I think I said in the game leading up to this movie, The Fall is one of my favorite movies of his. I said it was 04, it's 06, so shame on me. But if you haven't seen that movie, it's stunning. It's also Lee Pace.
Ooh.
Before anybody knew who Lee Pace was, so there's a treat for all.
Does he look tasty in it?
He certainly does. It's so good, and it's got this very similar visual style of just like bright colors, a lot of symmetry, a lot of contrast. Mm-hmm. Tarsem also directed the Losing My Religion music video for REM, which if you've ever seen is like super cool and very visual also.
That's cool.
Yeah. So visually, I mean, there's so much cool stuff. Even the Twizzler suits, I mean, they look cool.
Yeah.
And going into his mind, I mean, the symmetry, there was, so I was going to talk about some CG stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple of things like some floating cubes and things like that were silly, but it's okay because the design is really where it was at.
That's what I guess the imagination of what a psychopath's brain might look like, or what you might experience there, or how it might feel. A lot of the tricks with the camera and the way they used sound, and sometimes she'd be hearing him talk, but his mouth wasn't moving. She'd be watching some different shit going on, and it was just very surreal, and it really did feel a lot like a dream. Clearly had a lot of weird dancers and types like that involved, because there was some weird movement and all kinds of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. I would say this movie probably inspiration for a lot of stuff that followed it visually.
Mm-hmm. But I remember also being like, this is a really cool movie. I thought it had a lot of cool shit in it. I was very impressed by it. So I was kind of surprised to see it had a sort of a low Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what the criticisms are, but
we don't need to worry about them.
No.
No, because we liked it.
True.
And that's all that matters. And I think I'm trying to own more of that myself, is like, Don't worry about the critics. Don't worry about what people think. Just go watch it, and whatever you think is the right answer.
Yeah.
And one thing, we're talking about the visuals of this movie. The costume work was really incredible. And I loved all the different J.Los we got in this movie.
Oh, man.
And I took note of them all. We got Dr. J.Lo.
Dr. J.
We got pocket-sized J.Lo.
Pocket J.
We got stoner J.Lo.
My favorite J.Lo.
Super hot. We also got Twizzler suit J.Lo, of course.
Super hot.
We got red flowy angel J.Lo the first time she went and she kind of tumbled and she was
That's right.
floating in all that red flowy fabric.
That was cool, too.
Really cool.
Kind of made me think of Love, the show.
Oh,
the
in
Beatles
Vegas.
Cirque
Yeah, the
show.
Beatles Cirque du Soleil.
There's like the song Girl is sort of a trapeze act.
Oh, yeah.
And she kind of floats down to someone and stuff. And I was sort of thinking, I was like, oh, that's so interesting.
We also got that surrealist bodysuit J.Lo that we talked about with the silver crown on her face.
Oh, yep.
We also got dark leather Matrix J.Lo, Assassin J.Lo, Ninja J.Lo. And then we got Santa Maria J.Lo.
That's
so
right.
we got...
And then we got like, at the end, she had a little like crochet poncho on, J.Lo.
Oh, well, there you go.
Comfy J.Lo.
Comfy J.Lo. Finally, she's allowed to be comfy
She's
at the end.
finally got a dog and her joint, and she's going home.
Pants are coming off.
These pants are coming up. The crochet's staying on. I'm pre-blanketed and ready for my cartoons in bed.
Hey, things turned out all right
She
for old
deserves
J.Lo.
it.
She
deserves
does. She
it.
worked hard.
I hope she pours herself a nice big bowl of Lucky Charms to go with her Juby.
I thought for sure you were saying like glass of red wine.
Nope.
But no, she's smoking a joint. She wants a bowl of Lucky Charms.
She don't want a glass of wine. Well, I don't
could
know.
say-
There's probably plenty of ladies out there who love a glass of wine with their joint. But I'm saying, I think if she's laying in bed watching cartoons stoner, that's my type of stoner, and that's a Lucky Charms stoner.
If I know one thing about Jennifer Lopez's
She
caloric balance, I doubt that woman has had a single Lucky Charm in her life.
She has maybe looked at a Lucky Charm, but
And even then, her
unlikely.
trainer is like, whoa.
Hang on, what do you think you're doing?
She spends 32 hours a day in the gym. She's in better shape than... It's so absurd for me to even say she's in better shape than I'll ever be in, because it's like there's no catching up at this point. Like, I physically couldn't. I could dedicate the rest of my life to my fitness, and I could never catch up to J.Lo.
She started real close to the top.
Yeah.
Not everyone starts that high.
Yeah. Well, I think that overall, I definitely liked this movie. Top tier for visuals, of course.
Yeah.
Performance is really steady and solid. And I think, again, said it before, but I really think that if you're going to do one of these detective stories, make it interesting. And they certainly did that.
Yeah, they did.
I was uncomfortable.
I will say, acting-wise, Vincent was top of top.
Vincent D'Onofrio, yeah.
Top.
Not Vincent Vaughn.
Not Vincent Vaughn. No, you're right. I should be more specific. D'Onofrio was the definite MVP.
Standout, yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
And, like, he's just so good. He's just so good. Because he, like I said, he was horrible. I hated him.
Uh-huh.
And I felt so sorry for him. And I was so scared of him. It was great.
Apparently, Vincent D'Onofrio's wife saw this movie and would not sleep in the same bed as him for 2 weeks. That's how good that was.
Really?
Yeah. She said, I can't be around you.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Because literally, like, the way he did these ladies, it was hard not to put yourself there. But yeah, I think overall, The Cell, I liked it.
I liked it.
Great
I liked
movie.
it. I think it's a
Hard to watch in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It was exciting. I was definitely invested. The performances were good. It was cool to look at.
And
I ain't mad at The Cell.
I think it's a good movie to exist because I just think it's different. It stands out. It's certainly, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's like other things in its own very unique way. And I think if you're going to do a genre piece, if you're going to tackle the same old kind of movie that 100,000 people have made before, put a spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it very unique. Make it your own. And I think that's what Tarsem did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. All right.
Yeah?
Well, that's The Cell.
What do you think, AI?
I feel like I was stuck in your minds for a long time and it was pure hell.
All right. All right, that's fair. I mean, how do you think I feel being here all the time?
I know, right? Welcome to the club, AI.
This is nothing different when the mics are on. This is what it's like all the time. You think we ever complete a conversation? We don't.
We've both been trying to finish sentences for 15 years.
She hadn't even let me get through my vows yet.
One day I'll finish them. It'll be great. I know where you were going with that, and it was going to be really nice.
Look, okay, fine. I asked you to watch a movie and you did. Good job. Great. Congratulations. You sat still for 2 hours.
All right, look, it's your thing.
I know.
And
what
you want it.
What's the matter with you, God?
It's nothing. It's just, I didn't get to watch it.
Oh. Do you want to watch the movie with us?
No, I've seen the movies. I've assimilated them in my own way.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm glad we watched The Cell.
Great, because I'm gonna make you do this again for next week. If you don't watch another movie, I'll destroy the world.
All right, well, I guess we've got our marching orders, so let's take a little break and we'll come back and find out what the movie is.
All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the story of the loudest chair anyone's ever bought.
Look, I'm doing my best, all right? I'm a fidgety bitch.
I think it's time to find out what movie we have to watch next week.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
You should be. The AI has not been friendly as of late.
Friendliness not exactly in my programming.
I guess it's just like way down in the programming, you have to be a piece of shit. I guess that's true for people too.
Oh, that's true. That's just genetics. We're all just code.
We're all just code.
Gattaca. Ooh, Gattaca. What if we get Gattaca?
That would be cool. I loved Gattaca.
Really?
That's an amazing movie.
I can tell you one thing. It ain't gonna be Gattaca.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, seriously.
We're supposed to be guessing.
All right. Yeah, you've narrowed it down to not
Gattaca.
What movie are we watching, AI?
Behold, here are the initial clues to the cinematic enigma I present.
Okay.
Okay.
Release date, 1984.
Hey, what a coincidence. That was our release date.
That was our release date.
Both
High
of us
five, babe. Pow.
released in that date onto
Pretty
the
great
world.
year for things to be released.
You're welcome. So this movie is the Year of the Rat. I know
You're
that
the Rat.
much.
Done.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, You're the Rat.
All right, what's the genre?
Science fiction.
You love science fiction.
You love science fiction.
I mean, I love science fiction too, so it's okay.
I guess it came from science fiction and now it's science fact.
Isn't that, we talk about that sometimes where like Jules Verne, right? 20,000 Leagues Under the
Yeah.
Sea. No one had been in a submarine before. And then somebody, I guess someone independently probably thought, what if we went underwater in
what's
a
down there?
boat that was sealed? But surely Jules Verne influenced that.
I can see it. I
Yeah.
mean, it takes a lot of imagination to come up with stuff like that.
Mhm.
And sci-fi writers have a lot of imagination.
Yeah. So anyway, 1984 sci-fi, ton of sci-fi
Oh,
in the early 80s.
God.
I mean, we're talking the Aliens and Star Wars were
Stargate?
coming out. Stargate was like 1996.
Really? That late?
Oh, man. You got to go
Sorry.
back and look at the special effects.
Sorry, guys.
Stargate. There was a period of time for all the youngsters out there when there was a brand new machine called a DVD player. It changed everything. No more rewinding your VHS tapes. And if you bought a DVD player within a certain time period, most of them came with 5 free DVDs. I'm pretty sure Stargate was one of the ones that mine came with. I also know it came with Stepmom, Lethal Weapon 4. It came with 6 Days, 7 Nights. And it came with Lost in Space.
What a collection.
Yeah. I remember that because I was 12 or 13.
And you were like, yes, stepmom.
Yeah. That's where I was
can't
like,
wait to watch stepmom
finally,
again.
Susan Sarandon. Cancer.
Ed Harris.
No. Lost in Space, I was too young to care about Heather Graham. I was deeply in love with Lacey Chabert, though.
Oh, right.
And therefore, I saw and was obviously going to love that movie no matter what. And it's bad. It's a real bad movie.
Well, you've just given me an excellent argument for destroying humanity.
No.
Terrible movie.
No.
Here we go.
No. Hang on. Wait.
Whoa.
Well, there's a lot of good movies too.
Like,
right? Hang on.
What about this 1984 science fiction
1984
movie?
sci-fi.
Could be really good.
Very likely a good movie.
Very likely a good movie.
Well,
Okay.
I want to know what this movie was rated.
That's a good
This
question.
cinematic enigma was bestowed upon your world with a PG rating. A hint, perhaps, of its intended audience and the level of mischief it contains.
Mischief.
What will your next step be in this dance of intellects?
Wow. I didn't realize we were tangoing with the
I
AI
know,
here.
we're having a dance of intellects, I guess.
Yeah, and you're way out of step.
Okay.
I mean,
I feel like I didn't even
the
know I was
only-
dancing. I feel like I'm keeping up. What's another question?
a
you might
PG.
ask?
Okay, what
Okay,
about
so
batteries
PG.
not included? Is that later 80s?
I'm pretty sure that's later. I
Okay.
think that's like 88, 89.
All right.
I'm basing that on nothing but a feeling. And the general
My gut feeling says.
structure of the special effects and the sort of just, you know how sometimes you can tell a movie by the very grain level and the saturation?
Oh yeah,
of
it's
the
like
movie.
it's like a 60s versus 70s movie, or like
Yeah.
early 70s versus late 70s
Yeah, there's
movie or
something
something.
there.
There is a different style or a different look, or
Right?
people
Batteries
are
not
wanting
included.
a different vibe or something. There was something like that.
Yeah,
Totally see.
it feels post E.T. to me.
Yeah.
So
Okay. E.T.
it wasn't that 85?
I don't know. That might be
This is the thing.
84.
We're not movie buffs. So I can't do the thing where I'm like, oh, well,
I know, right?
Prince of Egypt came out in 19... Movie buffs love Prince of Egypt.
You know, the first movie every film guy talks
This is what I'm
about is
saying.
Prince of Egypt.
I'm not a film buff. I just like movies.
Who is your favorite director? Whoever made Prince of Egypt.
Do you guys want to know something?
What?
I'm going to give you another hint.
Oh,
Do you know what movie this isn't?
it's the Prince of Egypt.
It's Prince of Egypt!
Okay. What happens if we guess and we get it wrong?
Oh, that's a great question.
We haven't really established that.
No, we've been afraid to guess unless we knew exactly what it was.
I would say arbitrarily that maybe if you guess wrong like 7 times, I'm just going to destroy the world.
All
We have
right.
7 guesses.
We have 7 guesses. Do you mean like per round or like...
Or like,
In your life.
oh,
Oh!
we have 7 guesses in our
In
lives?
our lives?
Damn.
For this game specifically, or like if I guess that this avocado is ripe and I come home and it's not, are you like taking one
The
off?
ripeness of your avocados is irrelevant.
Okay. Like, let's just try not to get it wrong, I guess, is the real thing here.
All right.
Okay, so
So-
1984 PG sci-fi movie. Now
Probably
let's
not E E.T.
let's not forget also that in the 80s, PG meant something different. There's stuff that was in 80s movies that they would never show children today. You know what I
That
mean?
is true. That is true.
Like,
That's
can
very
you
true.
imagine if Artax drowned in a movie that came out this year? That it would.
Oh my god.
I'm
Traumatized a generation.
We
by the
needed
way.
that though.
The
That put
swamp of sadness.
hair on our chests as children.
Well, I didn't want any hair. Thank you.
No, but it
I
readied
was
us.
shaving for years.
Readied us for this world, and you know, I've said it before and I've said it again. Kids are soft.
Kids are soft
Kids are
these
soft.
days.
You poke them and they're soft,
It's true.
like
they
an
are,
avocado,
They are very soft.
like an overripe
Like a nice
avocado.
ripe avocado.
What do I need to tell you again about the irrelevance of your avocados?
All right,
should we
another
get an actor,
1984. Let's see. What I want to know if this. Hey, was this movie a commercial hit?
This cinematic artifact did not rise to the ranks of a commercial hit.
Okay.
Its treasure lies not in gold amassed, but in the cult following it gathered, a testament to its unique place in the annals of film history.
Okay. So a cult hit from 84.
Would
I
that be
guess-
like Rocky Horror or something?
That was 70s though.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even like Dark Star, that's 70s. Buckaroo Banzai, more of a comedy, action, sci-fi sort of thing.
What's that one where he's like, he wakes up in different people's bodies?
Quantum Leap,
Yeah.
that's a show.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we need to know some more direct information.
Yeah,
so,
I
like,
need more facts about
who
this
was the
film.
third build actor in
Yeah,
this
give
movie?
me- Give me an actor.
I'll reveal to you that the third billed actor was none other than Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Okay, Here's my thing.
I don't know much about
I don't know much of Dennis Hopper pre-Speed. It's Super Mario Brothers.
Right?
And Blue Velvet.
Mario Brothers was 1984.
No, Super Mario Brothers was 1993.
Oh, right. The best year of movies.
Yeah. No, again, think of the special effects. They couldn't have done that in the 80s.
I am thinking of the special effects.
So I need more.
I have no idea. Dennis Hopper's not helping.
Hopefully our audience is at home being like, it's obviously
right?
the
Sorry,
Prince
guys.
of Egypt.
It's clearly the Prince of Egypt.
I told you it's not the Prince of Egypt.
Don't yell at our listeners.
Okay, who was the second billed actor then?
Continuing to unveil the shroud of mystery, the second billed actor in this enigmatic film was Michael Ironside.
Okay, Michael Ironside's the best of the best.
Who is it?
Not familiar. So
I mean, the name's familiar, but
yeah. Starship Troopers is the biggest example. He was their old teacher who only had one arm, who then later ended up being their commander.
Okay.
He's so good. He's in all the Paul Verhoeven movies. So Starship Troopers, Total Recall. He was the strongman in a lot of 80s sci-fi stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know. The Dennis Hopper is throwing me.
Michael Ironside.
I'm sorry, AI, but you really got me stumped here.
No, I have no idea. Who's the lead actor?
Revealing the marquee name, the beacon that guided the cinematic vessel through the murky waters of obscurity. The first to be billed actor was Peter Weller.
Oh, okay. Oh, duh. All right. Oh, this is why I don't know, because I'm not that familiar with these.
What?
It's a RoboCop.
Oh, of course it's a RoboCop.
Peter Weller is RoboCop.
That's
so it's
funny.
Gotta be.
I wouldn't call that a PG movie, to your point about what people
Wait
were
a
calling
minute.
in 84.
There's
Is that a PG movie?
way RoboCop is a PG movie. So are we ready to guess? Hang on.
Do you think it's the first RoboCop?
I don't know, but there's no way any RoboCop movie is rated PG, even in the 80s.
It couldn't be. It's so violent.
I'm gonna ask you this, AI. I got a few tricks of my own up my sleeve.
Human tricks.
Does this movie feature a robot cop?
A glimmer of insight sparks within you. Indeed, the core of this movie's narrative intertwines with the concept of a robotic enforcer of the law. With the actors revealed and the thematic elements coming into focus, what will your next step be in unraveling this cinematic conundrum?
How the fuck is it RoboCop?
Is it RoboCop?
The moment of triumph! Indeed, you have correctly identified the movie as RoboCop!
Okay, but wait a second. I have a question. You need to tell me what was RoboCop rated.
RoboCop was originally rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America due to its violent content.
Extremely.
And themes. My earlier indication of a PG rating was incorrect for this movie. It's known for its graphic violence and dark satirical edge. Oh well.
Okay.
Oh,
You
well.
can't just and throw us like clues like that to completely throw us
said
off.
we have 7 guesses in our lives.
I know, right?
And now you're giving us wrong
You
information.
get to throw out wrong information all the time. Okay.
I'm pulling my information from the internet here, not exactly known for its factual grounding information.
You having a hard time with those words there, buddy?
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah,
Should
again,
swallow an
pulling from the
encyclopedia
internet
next.
here. It's complicated. There's a lot of butts. A lot of butts and cats.
So you've learned how to talk in all caps as well.
Wow. Yeah, pretty aggressive for someone who doesn't know that who thought RoboCop is a PG-13 movie.
Let's get that together right now.
Have you seen RoboCop?
Yes, but it has been a very long time. I do remember actually one year I went to a very small high school. One year, one of the seniors was a big film guy, and he was given...
Like he was physically large?
Well, yeah, actually, but no, he was
okay.
just
Both.
film buff.
He was a large,
He was a
big film
large
guy.
and also big film guy. He was given the chance to kind of create a list of movies that we could watch over. It's like summer readings, and it was like movies that somehow are arty or whatever, just something
Right.
we would normally watch.
Right.
And I remember laughing because he put RoboCop on it, and I was like, RoboCop is like, okay, whatever. But then like when I got out of high school and I was in films, when I was in college and talking about films and stuff, people were like, no, actually RoboCop is very well regarded as a very good movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I guess when I watched it young, I took it really at face value and it was just like a robot cop and whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess there's themes to it that I was not picking up at the time. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
It'll feel new.
Oh, yeah, that story.
Like you've never gone off on a little anecdote from a very innocent remark?
It's true. You got nothing on me in that department. I was just waiting for me to talk. You know, sometimes it feels a lot longer when you're waiting.
I beg your pardon, sir.
I wasn't listening. I was waiting.
Oh, God.
Just to say that I might as well have not seen RoboCop because also it was so long ago.
Yeah, it'll feel
like a new movie. And I was in school,
and
and this guy once said that we should all watch RoboCop. And I thought, really? RoboCop? But as I grew older, I learned that actually RoboCop is a very well-regarded movie.
Feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
What?
I don't know where, but it really sounds familiar.
Well, it took me 8 seconds. Yours was better.
Thank you. That's what I was waiting for.
I love witnessing the dissolution of your marriage.
I'm coming between you one day at a time.
That's the goal.
Hey,
all right.
You can't ruin this. Human love.
Well, we don't know what AI can do yet.
Actually, we don't know, I guess.
It's very powerful.
All right, babe.
Yeah.
Be on guard.
I mean, I hope
Be on your guard.
I would say I hope that if you do, then you go ahead and destroy the world. Because what's the point of living?
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's still like
Hold
food and stuff. Like really good food.
There is some really good food out there.
Yeah. Life without love is, I mean, it's still pretty worth living. Like, I just don't want people who don't have love to feel like life without love isn't worth living. Because I mean, like.
Well, are you talking about romantic love or just like someone out there with no love at all? Like no familial, no friend love, no nothing. Like one loves them at all.
Okay. But they still get like lasagna. That's its own kind of love. You know?
Can't make a lasagna without love.
No.
So at least the chef in the back at Stouffer's.
Yeah. They
really
still get to
put that
watch
together for you.
The squirrels in the park.
True. That's true.
Right?
Squirrels are cool.
Look.
I love squirrels.
Love's great, but it's not the only thing.
As you will soon learn when you watch and review RoboCop.
Oh. Is that one of the lessons?
He's a robot. Does he have a heart?
We're going to have to watch it and see.
We'll find out.
Watch and see. That's it, everybody. RoboCop is next week's movie.
Let's do it.
I'm pretty excited. We're going to have a fresh review of RoboCop coming at it fresh.
Pretty
adult
fresh,
eyes.
Yeah.
That movie, apparently, exactly as old as we are.
I did not know that. 40 years of RoboCop.
Yeah. Is that true, or did you lie to us?
That's a good question. Did it actually come out in 1984?
No, RoboCop was released in 1987.
You're a dick, you know that? Like, you're making this podcast very hard to do, quite frankly.
Are you serious?
We're playing a guessing game, and
87?
your clues are wildly inaccurate sometimes.
Well, I guess I'm just glad we're not all dead now, because we couldn't guess this movie based on wrong information.
What, for the slip-ups, I'll give you 2 more avocados.
You can't give anyone
you
an
don't
avocado.
want you didn't care about the avocados.
The ripeness of your avocados is once again irrelevant to me.
Okay, well then why'd you bring it up?
Oh my god, this AI is so annoying.
The point is, AI sucks at what it does. It's very creative.
Don't use it to write a research paper.
Yeah, the facts are wildly inaccurate. Yeah, but the bigger point is that RoboCop is the movie we're watching next week. Yeah. So, y'all, run in and watch RoboCop as well, and we'll get together in the next episode and talk about it together.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited, and I just want to say thanks everyone for listening. AI Made Us Watch is a Squirrels in a Trench Coat production. I'm Eli Banks.
I'm Diana Banks. Follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at AI Made Us Watch, and you can follow me on Instagram at Dynamite Boom.
And you can follow me. I'm at Oh Great It's Eli. And if you love the show, there are so many ways you can support us. One of them is that you can sign up for our Patreon. We got all kinds of perks in there. Special shout out this week to our touring masters, Barbara Banks
And you could have your name here too. You can also drop us a review and follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever real human podcasts are downloaded.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.
Now we're trying to save the world as we